We'll call the meeting to order of the Finance and Administration Committee of the Water Management District, December 9th, and it is it's not necessary to do the roll call because we've got Director member. We have quorum.
Just want to remind everyone to have their mics on, please. Take it there are no additions. Well, Michelle or Sarah, do you know if there are any additions or corrections? The public in attendance? We have no members attending by Zoom. Okay, thank you. Then we can go on to our action items. The first is the minutes of the November 12th meeting. Anybody have any?
Comments?
Second that. All in favor? Aye. Then abstaining?
Walker abstained.
Okay.
That's his
One
usual.
abstention. And then we have the treasurer's report. I'm very sorry.
That's okay. Good afternoon, Chair, committee members. The October report for the district. Screen, the district started with 7.7 million cash and investments at the beginning of October. 30.1 million. We received fee deposits of about 6.2 million. We have cash disbursements of about 4 million, which included about 80,000 rebates. These rebates are for the months of August and September. Fee deposits were higher than usual because that included 2.2 million in grant payment from the state of California for the expansion project. So received from Cali for the sale of water for 3 months. So that was 3 million. This is user fees that we received from them. Here on the previous report, you can also see that transfer of 250,000 was made to California class, and so that brings the California class total to 500,000. We intend to make further deposits to California class at this point. Finally, there are some voided checks. These are just outstanding stale checks from prior years that we voided, so those checks can be reissued. And it's in payments made to vendors that were encashed in prior years. Exhibit B provides a detailed listing of payments and checks. Exhibit C is a statement of revenues and expenditures for the month of October. That is my report.
Two questions. Are there other members of the committee have questions for me?
Why would we put so much money in California class? Well, if you can look at how we planned on putting in it first. At first I thought it was 250. That was it, but now I'm hearing some awesome.
Yeah, we are offering the highest return at this point, and so using them of life. This is a highly liquid investment. We can take these funds out any day and to life or any or bank cities. So it's just trying to capture some extra yield, extra.
So we're not putting no more money into life.
Because if the interest rates aren't favorable, then we won't Right now, they're still a little high. That's why we made that. So, all right.
No question.
See where they are.
Last month we had the first quarter report which had a listing for the city's investments. It's presented every quarter.
250 comes out of the general fund or is it CD into?
This came from our bank. So if we have extra money sitting in our trust, we just move that to class.
Oh.
CD account for multi-bank securities. We haven't withdrawn any funds from them recently. So we are moving it from bank CDs and moving it to class. That wouldn't give us the interest income advantage as with to class. Yeah.
CD comes due.
Yes, it's a really
They send back.
whatever bank offers the highest yield. So part of the investment policy, we look at 5-year CD, and since 5-year CDs are still offering 4%, that's locking in that high interest yield for the next 5 years. And if interest rate fall, then the district is in a better position by having locked in that high interest rate for longer. Yeah, class varies every month, but bank CDs lock it. Yep.
Liquidity and there's return and check report, there's one larger ones is to University Corporation at Ryan Ranch. Do you know what that is? It's page 10 of the agenda packet. I just don't know what that is. And if you don't know,
You might need to search it, but let me take a look because so see the man.
City Corporation at Ryan Ranch, it's about a third of it. Yeah, from the top of the page. Yes. And we just.
Two. Yes.
Yeah, the agenda packet, we'll just kind of.
I could research this on the spot. So it's a good question.
It's just part of our due diligence to
Exactly.
look at checks too, if there's a larger one that I don't know, I ask.
Sometimes the checks are approved at the division level, and so the checks at ASD get approved by me. And sometimes
If you want to just look at it and do that later, that's fine.
and somebody's email.
Yeah.
We get that with an email.
About the rebates, I noticed that there's like something like 350 different rebates. You said.
89,000 in rebates for 2 months, yes.
Is that a pretty typical number of rebates that every?
25,000, 30,000 in rebates, so it might be slightly higher. But very much out of the ordinary.
That's quite a lot, I think, for a relatively small community.
And some are reimbursed by CalRED or?
It's a very small subset of rebates that we receive from outside the jurisdiction. We call this courtesy rebates. 300 and we still reimburse them.
That's the jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's in the Calab area, but it's not maybe it's a water management restriction, but that's a random situation around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would account for small discrepancy. Just noting that's a lot of people, for a small, relatively small district. People are still taking advantage of these rebates, even though they've been around for quite a while now. So I think that's good for conservation. Any other questions for the sheet?
I'm just curious, speaking of conservation on page 20. See, under category of conservation. Projects that were getting reimbursements on.
Yeah. The grant reimbursements and the rebate reimbursements. And so for the grant, there are two grants for the Pool Elementary project. One's for the urban drought, and so the State Water Resources Control Board. And then there's also the Integrated Resource RWM grant that we give to the cities. That's distributed between project reimbursements. So under conservation,
The river, restoration.
That's what really. So there's.
This is not exactly a grant, but I believe CalAm funds the. CalAm is responsible and therefore funds the river. Even though we basically run the program. If I am correct about that, then that will show up somewhere here.
Project reimbursement.
These are grants. This isn't litigation as far as I know.
Expansions, okay. Here's the way they trickle. So now it's just trickling.
Yeah, it depends on the rate of construction and the construction of the treatment plants, and then we receive the funds.
I'm sure you remember that's the grant funding for Clearwater and Clearwater is substantial. Questions about that? October Treasurer's report. I'll go on to agenda item 3. Reimbursements.
Madam Chair, before we move on to make a recommendation. Taking a motion.
Thank you.
Recommendation to the board.
I'll say.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So do we still have the public participating by Zoom? Checking. I'm just checking, because we can just go straight on to. Correct, we have no outside attendees. Thank you. Okay, so now, item 3. Staff reimbursements, annual.
Yeah.
actually from the answer to the previous question, the city corporation, this is under conscious growth for mitigation. Section survey.
Oh.
Cross section survey. That's from him.
From Tom, okay.
Thomas Christensen.
So you know it has to do with the common river.
So for the next item, this is just an annual disclosure report that's required by Government Code Section 53065.5. These are reimbursements that are made to employees of our board members. Most of the reimbursements here are for conferences and related costs. The big one is a pre-approved board reimbursement for moving expenses that's related to my move here too. It's approved by the board in December of last year.
Money well spent, in my opinion.
I can agree on that one. This Halloween party. Reimbursement $64.
Halloween party.
Yeah, that's on there. They have Halloween party.
There were some pizzas there.
Pizza.
Yeah,
No candy corns.
I didn't see any.
Here's my comment. That's a union party. I don't think we ought to be funding parties. So think about that when we bring that to the new party. Pay boys from the district. Something to think about. Tell them to look there. It's the one that brought it up.
No district funded employee events like that.
I don't know. This is the first time I've seen some of they have been doing it. They've been doing it, but this one made the report,
Did the cut.
yeah, made the
Someone used their credit card, got some pizzas and then got in there, so at least that's for
they reimburse her, but some you and Dave talk about.
Small amount.
Yeah, there's nothing much, this is just disclosure.
It's just a disclosure, no motion needed. Informational items, and then we will we'll pause there to see if any committee members have any questions about those.
We will approve money for lawsuits and stuff.
Acquisition of,
Yeah, I think I'm saying they should do it again for future when we get there. But since we brought that up.
Yeah, okay, so we'll get to that in a moment.
Looks like Rebecca's being sworn in.
Yes, that's just, that all came to light like Friday, so it was already out in the draft.
She gonna be formally sworn in that. She gonna be sworn in.
Announce it at the board meeting that she was sworn in. Yes, I talked it over with Michael already. She prefers to sworn that way, so publicly at the meeting. For this is
that relates
the
to
update for item 6.
yes.
Speak this.
Yeah, if you have that, I don't know, I can certainly speak to it. There's no action for 4 and 5. Yeah, so coming to item 6, we were unclear whether we would have anything ready for this board meeting. And so we got the financial statements late on Friday. And I thought it would still be beneficial for the committee to see it before it goes to the board draft form. And so that's the annual comprehensive financial report that you see there. It doesn't have the letter of transmittal, and the management discussion and analysis section is still being worked on. But the financial statements are in the draft form, which I'll go over. So there are two things in the packet. One's the draft report, as we call it, and then a listing of journal entries. And I just wanted to clarify. Because last year there was a question that came up about these journal entries, which were part of the letter to the board. If you may recall, these were included there. So I thought it would be beneficial to just go over them. But before that, I want to say that the auditor will be issuing a clean or unmodified opinion, which means that the district's financial statements are fairly presented in all material aspects. So providing an opinion on the adequacy of internal controls, which we haven't seen yet. This is usually covered in the independent auditor's report, which is part of that packet up front. So,
And you expect that to be
actually, we want it to be ready because it needs to be submitted to the Government Finance Officers Association before this calendar year. They have a guideline to submit reports within 180 days at the end of the fiscal year. Even though we have gotten exceptions from them in the last 2 years, we do want to submit it on time this year. And that kind of feeds into what you might be seeing here in the list of journal entries. So what happens is we provide a listing of all the transactions to the auditor at a certain point in the year. This time around, since we wanted to bring this report to the board in December, we told the auditors to provide all the listing of transactions, which is called the trial balance, by September 25th, which we did. There were transactions that needed to be picked after the fact, like payments for the urban drug grant that came in later, payments for pension liability, healthcare liability. And this is typical in the auditor's scope of work, like they call it the adjusting journal entries. So they make those entries and then produce the financial statements. And so some of the entries that you see here are related to those. And here it says that these entries were made after the trial balance was received. Well, we can look at the first page of journal entries, for instance. So it says to record compensated absences provided by client after a PB trial balance submission. This is usually part of the scope of work. We'll probably be in a better position next year, so we can do some of this beforehand before we submit it to the auditors. But I just wanted to go over what this means. This is just reclassifying transactions in the correct period. So even if the money is received after the end of the fiscal year, we put it back in the year that it belongs to. So there are transactions like that you will see here. And the idea is to correctly represent the financial position. Expense. Budgeted and expense. So the service was performed in fiscal year 23-24. Let's say that's the construction for the pay-revenue happened in last quarter of fiscal year 23-24. We got the bill on June 30th. We submitted it to the state reimburses it October. So we have to take those funds and basically say, here, this belongs to this year. And so those are what I call journal entries. And similarly, if you may recall, we had these two reports, GASP 68 and 75. So when we know what our liability is going to be, we book that liability to that year. So that's also one of the two journal entries right here. The only reason I'm saying this is so whoever's listening to it or they listen to it has an understanding of what this means. Um, so is the big general entries that you see here, they're related to the grant payment that we received for Q4. There's a $2.6 million. And it's the same transaction, sometimes shown in three different journal entries. Anyway, so out of that exercise comes the financial statement, and which is what I'll briefly go over. Contents of the ACFR are dictated by the Government Finance Officers Association. They say, "Hey, this is the standard, this is how you need to present this to us." And so the ACFR has three sections: an introductory section, which has this letter of transmittal, the board directors, and the certificate of achievement for financial reporting, which we received for the prior year. And then we have the financial section, which has the auditor's report, the management discussion and analysis, the financial statements, and then the minutes to the financial statement. Finally, the third section is the statistical section, which goes over trends in finances, how we have been doing the last 10 years. So those are the three sections, and these statements look at how we are doing in the short term and how we are doing in the long term. And so one's called the government fund financial statements, the short-term one, and then the government-wide financial statements is the long-term one. And both those statements are presented here. Without going into too much detail, I'll just go over one statement, revenues and expenditures. How did we do at the end of the fiscal year? And so that's shown on page 17. Scroll to that page.
Page 17.
This is it.
We will be better prepared for the board meeting. Yeah, I find this helpful. What to be thinking about as we review it. Yeah.
So this is a statement of revenues and expenditures based on our audited financial statements. And it's a little hard to see the screen, but I'll still go with
10 fiscal years. Is that what we're looking at?
17.
Let's talk about property.
Yeah, this one. This one.
In here?
The bottom I should say page 17, and that's what. So the main highlight here is the district received revenues of 31.5, expenditures of 26.7 million for 2024. And then for the prior year, you also see the revenues expenditures in the last column for the year before. Revenues are higher because of a number of factors. One, the water sales are higher, and the property taxes are 300,000 higher. Permit fees and capacity charges, those are higher by about 2 billion. Several large construction projects. And on the expense side, expenses are lower mostly because we paid off the debt last year. The $2.7 million debt that you see here was paid off. So that puts us in a decent position. District did set aside a reserve for the water supply charge for last year. So we'll see how that goes in terms of settlement proceedings, but financially track and see revenues that cover our operating expenditures. So for myself.
Net position on page 6. There's a very huge jump from last year to this year. sure.
Is that the page that you're looking at?
It's
Page 16. Balance sheet.
assets are going up dramatically because looks like,
The 36 million, is that
yeah.
36 versus 25? Yeah, there's account receivables of 5.6 million there. Investments are going up. A better way to look at it is, let's say we had more revenue than expenditures. The net result goes into the fund balance, and since our fund balance increased, our assets are going to increase. Plus, assets are also all the district facilities that we have here. That's like 19 million in district facilities. Those are long-term assets. Then should show up in the statement of position. Look at page 14. Page 14 breaks out our activities in terms of government funds and business activities. So governmental activities and business activities. Activities are what we do. Business activities are the reclamation project that is considered as an enterprise fund and goes into our financials. There is about 34 million in water rights that belong to the district, and that is amortized every year. So let's say our net position 75 million. There's 34 million is the water rights that the district has for the reclamation project. And then the rest, here's what I would look at. So let's say our total net position 75.74 million here.
Contractual rights to the pure water monitoring water?
This is the reclamation project for the golf courses. Then we issued the certificates of participation for like 33 million. We got water rights in exchange because the water rights belong to us. The treatment facility belongs to COD, and then the distribution system belongs to Pebble Beach Community District. So those water rights are shown up here and kind of like highlighted on the screen. And so
This changed very much.
they don't, they are amortized every year. Yeah, exactly. So 37 million is our government activities in position, 38 million is for business activities belonging to the reclamation project. Rather than except 75.7 million position. See here 19 million in net investments in capital assets. Those are our district facilities. Yeah, so our net position is improved. That's also another positive.
Just the 10-year survey. Seemed to me that
There's some data that we received from CalAm. This is in the statistical section, and we haven't yet received data from them. So we are hoping that we get it before the end of this month. As soon as we get it, that section should be updated.
But I mean, some of the stuff we don't have to wait for. Okay.
Yeah, see where it says source gallon water. This is based on a water year. And even though our financials end on fiscal year, which is June, the water year ends on September 30th. So
It'd be great that all consistently reflect that it's just going to go. So, but
It'll be 11 years then.
that's a
September. Well, we wanted work right now. Yeah, I do.
24, 25, right?
24, yeah. We're going into the 24-25 one year.
Now,
We started, yes.
yes, in September.
Yes, the other one just ended.
yes, this isn't even on running years. Well, this is fiscal years.
I think we should probably change the credit to fund that.
Right, and if we are going, I mean, obviously, it doesn't look like each one of these 10-year data points are consistent. In other words, page 77, we go back to 2015. 78. So I guess the first question is, are we okay with consistent? Which 10 so, can't get the 23. CPC.
There's a request that's pending to Tricia Johnson, someone in Callan. And she confirmed that they will submit the data this year. So we will make sure that the data is consistent across the last 10 years. And this isn't the final report yet. We're still looking at the sections. So that's a point well taken.
2 years ago, we can say that it wasn't. And those are much more. Sure.
Not, I assume that, I mean, they're not inconsistent, but they're not to do. Yeah, yeah. Well, today, add in one more, I think,
I think the breakdown, and then obviously the general manager is in better position to answer this, the breakdown between residential, commercial, industrial, those, I don't know if we have that level of data, maybe we do. And so that's the breakdown that we're looking from Callan. So give us like how much was from multifamily residential versus commercial. If we have that data somewhere, usually Stephanie Locke sends this out, and then we get that at the end of the year. And we get that individual. But yes, we'll pursue that and as soon as we get that.
This is a new audit firm that we did, right?
But we're still with Clifton Larson Allen. The contract, we are logged into a contract with them. Next year, we have the option to extend the contract. So this was the last year of the existing contract, and so we decided to stick with them. But the advantage was, since there was some movement at the staffing level, what's been happening in the last 30 years, and so they can provide some level of continuity. So that it was helpful to have them. Some really some questions and opportunity to run the business.
Good, but after how many years they've been with us?
It's almost like 30 plus years. Yeah, since a few decades, probably.
On and off and coming back, they've been the auditors.
Yeah.
Time to look at somebody else to look at it. Yeah, so, you know, if I'm here, and so you need to think about it and they need to think about it. But after all those years, it's time for somebody else to look at and tell us, you know, how we doing, you know.
You're right. The best practice is to change auditors every 5 to 7 years, and we're well past that point.
Yes, I said that we sort of like keep people in the same.
We have an RFP under development right now, and
Fiscal year, you know, it's time to look at other people who just come in and get that.
Different professionals working in sort of, some of them, a new one, they see something, the others are over.
Yes, and that's what I'm thinking. Things, you know, get phone calls or calls folks about thinking something different is in there, so.
It's not in the finance and education.
We have the information.
That's what I wanted to, yes. You trying to steal credit for that? No, I'm gonna give you that. That's what I was talking about when we get to our agenda. Yeah, this was, we discussed that and then it comes, this comes a little bit out of the view.
See the agenda for this week. That's in today's finance administration meeting. Next finance administration meeting.
Talking about some change, you know, some money through the process.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe some dollars, but
last month.
Well, maybe we had a discussion about, some of the expert testimony on utility and
Projected costs, but I just remember if we didn't budget allocation at the last board meeting.
I'm sorry, I got distracted with the Senate. What's your sorry for question?
Oh, we're looking at, for the upcoming budget. General board meeting.
item 12,
Agenda item
action
12.
item.
For approval of additional funds. And this seems to be.
Speaker, we have it's approved by the fourth session, September, December for 200,000. And we have a contract and we're from 2023.
Good.
Since they continue to provide services, their contract needs to be amended so we can continue to pay them. That was one discussion we had for this.
And maybe
the last board meeting, we discussed contract, we made a decision, I think, on a contract for redesign consultant and operations consultants. But that is not legal. It's separate.
that was it.
I mean, it's related.
Right, I just see this as a hot button item, with virtually legal budget for this. So, This.
There's outstanding was $12.42. And if you look at exhibit 5, the first page, is 6,000 total invoice. Some of that you don't see, but not much remaining. There. Page 17. This is financial services restaurants.
Oh, that's what I said.
Yes. We budgeted some money for that and we said, okay. I think that's for, Prop 218.
Yes.
That's for that's for us to look at Prop 218.
So this one, I believe, is going to be in reference to Tammy Tucker. And it's, for the remaining of the fiscal year. It's a budget adjustment, I believe.
Yeah, not.
Yeah, we can say.
We approved that.
Yeah.
Last year, yes.
So.
Yeah, we did, because our question, just looking at our Prop 218, it can be used for other things than just that.
And I believe the general manager reported that he would be bringing the report to the board.
Yes, he did, so. No, we didn't get here, but he had our last meeting, but he was bringing up the fact that we were gonna do this, and we talked earlier about it back. We're probably looking at Prop 218. Something else, discuss it after the meeting.
Is it just return that?
This is about measure.
I can answer additional questions after the meeting.
Two board members this month, just one, and then next month another, which is.
Well, yes,
Take care, Mary.
the board of supervisors appoint someone,
We don't know.
Kate Daniels, I think.
It's just that this month, the next month, with the board members, it just was wondering if this was a significant enough item that it could have been. So, but I assume this would be. That's all. Seems like it's like- No, because
Consequential decision.
well, conversation in general about this.
We did, because it's basically about, I can say it, looking at the water supply charge. That's where it's coming in. Position plus looking at the water supply charge.
This isn't a closed session issue, so just. Yeah.
Was there more that you wanted to tell us about the draft financial report? Would we jump ahead a little?
Wanted to clarify trial balance pieces in the journal entry, so those are misinterpreted. Those are just part of the auditing exercise before financial statements are brought out. Like I said, we have a clean opinion, which is the highest opinion that the district can get. And the details once it's finalized at the board meeting.
Thank you very much. So we have the doubts filled in before the board meeting.
Eighteen.
16. Yes, so items for the next committee agenda.
So going back to the agenda. Wanted to put something on for discussion, CDO. So remind Dave, we're gonna do the allocation, and then I want something separate, discussion on the CDO. So I didn't see it on this agenda, so I'll bring it up, we're gonna come up with an allocation. I'll let him decide. You know what I'm talking about.
You want Sarah to? Yeah, I let him know. I knew it was small.
Okay, yeah. Separate, I want to get allocation and CDO tied together. Separate. Allocation and CDO, so.
Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah.
We did have that discussion. Was it that? So. Any items that come to mind for the next committee meeting of this committee? Any of you? Okay, if something occurs to you, you can always
Email. I'm going to get out.
staff and committee members. Okay. Second vote, yes. I'm sorry, did you have something? Yes, I adjourn. Thank you all.